Hello, my name is Maddie Ronzio, and I'm working at the Colorado Juvenile Defender Center. Within this organization, I work with defense attorneys and help them on cases that they're working on. I have 3 assigned cases as of right now. I have a juvenile life without parole, which that's the one I wanted to talk about, but it's a high-profile case, so my supervisor has suggested against it. I have an expungement case, and in that case, I'm more kind of helping the individual get a job, so just helping them with resume, things like that. And then I have my last case, and that case, the individual, he is actually off on parole, and he is suffering from a few disadvantages, which I will talk later about. So this individual, we'll call him Johnny. I met him on August 28th. I was assigned his case, and I have conducted several interviews. I try to meet with him at least once a week. If I don't meet with him a week, then I will talk to him on the phone. But I have actually been writing a biopsychosocial on this individual. So I've also been obtaining his records, school records, criminal history, and just kind of any documents that will help me get a grasp on who this individual is and what he has endured throughout his entire life. So to start off, Johnny was born at the University of Denver Hospital, and 7 months into his mother's pregnancy, he had a stroke inside her uterus. And this actually caused some bleeding in his brain, which doctors believe caused his cerebral palsy. And cerebral palsy, if you don't know what that is, it kind of impedes, it's a damage to the brain, which eventually affects an individual's motor skills and potential cognitive ability as well. So, and besides that, when he also was born, he had a lack of oxygen because the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck as well. And then at 18 months, Jenny noticed that Johnny was still not walking and not meeting other development milestones. So that's when she took him to the doctor and he got diagnosed with cerebral palsy. And his ankle muscles were very weak, and it made him unstable, and he could barely walk when he was young. So he was actually put into leg cast since he was 4 years old to 6 years old. And once he grew out of the cast, he was put into leg braces. So he's struggled, and to this day, he still limps on his right side and has issues with his right hand, grasping things. When I need him to sign a release form, it takes him a while to sign release forms, things like that. So Johnny stated that he has been to several different schools throughout his life, several different elementary schools. He's been to a few middle schools and 3 high schools. So he never really had a stable childhood. He was always kind of moving around. And in 1st grade, one of the teachers was kind of concerned about his cognitive ability. And so they gave him the WISC-5 test, which evaluates the human intelligence by examining the verbal and nonverbal capacities. And through this, he had an average score of 55, and that's an average score of 55 IQ, which is extremely low for individuals. And he scored well below average in intellectual functioning, which was comprehension, perceptual reasoning, concepts, and vocabulary. And then also, he had another test when he was in 6th grade, and the results were just a tiny bit better, but still in the 50s. And so how I was assigned the case is the lawyer was concerned about his cognitive ability and really understanding what he was supposed to do for probation. So that's why a social worker was assigned his case. And she had another cognitive test, which tested his IQ, and it came back as a 63. So still really below average. So just kind of a background. Since Johnny was a child until now, he has bounced around from house to house. When Johnny was born, he lived with his biological mother, Jenny, and his biological father, Mark. And at the age of 9, his parents separated. During this time, Johnny's mother was unstable and not able to care for him. She had a lot of drug addiction problems with methamphetamine and actually got in trouble with the law and was incarcerated for 30 days. And she had 2-year probation. During that time, there was a custody battle, and his biological father took care of Johnny. When his biological father was taking care of Johnny, there some abuse that occurred in the home. Johnny reported that his father used to consume a lot of alcohol, and when he would come home, he would physically and emotionally abuse him. A quote from Johnny that he said to me was, "Sometimes I have flashback of my dad and everything that my dad used to do. He used to drink when he was drunk, he used to hit me." So it's apparent that Johnny's still suffering from PTSD. And it's apparent that this abuse has made a huge impact in his life, emotionally and cognitively. After Johnny was older, he was able to move into Urban Peak. And at this facility, this is for homeless individuals and kind of helps them get back on their feet, provides them a home and stable environment. However, this environment was not structured enough for Johnny. He did not have the skills to function on a daily basis. So he kind of got into the wrong crowd, and he ended up robbing a marijuana dispensary. After this, he was sentenced to jail for a period of time, and then he got off on probation and violated his terms and conditions of probation. He had a lot of hot UAs with methamphetamine. So as of right now, while I'm working with Johnny, he is actually living back with his mom, and his mom seems, she seems unstable. However, she does want the best for Johnny. She calls me all the time, so concerned about his well-being, and she will meet me anywhere I want to and is very open to any services that I can provide. So I really want to help this individual. He not only has physical disabilities, but he has cognitive, and then he has past abuse and trauma that I have to deal with as well and help him overcome this. So right now they just moved, and they live in a basement of the mom's friend's house, and Johnny has his own room, and his mother and her boyfriend have their own room. Johnny doesn't have a job. He, as of right now, has had 2 hot UAs and 1 missed UA, and he has had 2 good UAs. He's passed 2 good UAs. So I've really realized that I've had to use motivational interviewing for this client and meet him where he's at. Because if I would shame him or kind of look down on him for getting those hot UAs, he shuts down. And I understand that he's been through so much. And so with the clients that I work with, I believe it's important to utilize the strength-based perspective and look at the positive qualities and the positive aspects that he has in his life as of right now. So with that being said, I am trying to set Johnny up with some services. What I would ultimately love to do is to provide him a stable home. I think a structured environment would be really good for him because, like I said, I don't know how his living situation is, if there's substances around him. He has kind of mentioned that there is, but not fully said. So I need some advice from you guys. If you have any resources just on either any services like day programs that could help him learn some skill building or help him even services to find a job. I have looked into Rocky Mountain Human Services and I'm talking to an individual, but it takes a long time to get into Rocky Mountain Human Services unless he's on the emergency list, and he doesn't qualify as of right now because he's not homeless. So my questions are on the blackboard, and I would love to hear your guys' feedback. And please ask me any other questions if you have it. All right, thank you.